Hey, welcome everybody to another podcast. And we are super excited to do a 20-minute deal breakdown. My name is Joe. This is Jen.
Hello.
And today we got a really great guy, one of our friends, deal maker, Avery in the house. Avery, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Hello, what's up?
So we want a little chat about you. So for some of our fans, folks, friends listening, who is Avery and where are you from?
Okay, so I am from Charlotte, North Carolina. It's really in my market, Charlotte and the surrounding area. Grew up here, haven't left. Been here forever.
Well, I understand why. It's a beautiful city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Weather,
full of people.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful area. So you grew up there. What kind of got you guided into real estate? What point of your life were you like, hey, maybe this is something I want to do?
Okay, so actually, probably about 3 years ago, I got into real estate. I actually saw wholesaling maybe like 7 years, maybe 10 years ago. It just seemed like so much work because then you couldn't just pull up a list. You had to actually go downtown to the courthouse, pull names. Now it's like I don't have time to do all of that. However, I do wish I would have done all of that.
Yeah.
Because now it's just like, it's just crazy. Like I love real estate. So about 3 years ago, I got started in real estate, basically, doing wholesaling.
So what finally gave you the itch to jump in? Like, hey, I'm gonna do this. Was there a certain thing that happened, or you're like, I'm gonna like?
I think mainly just watching people online and seeing all the people talking about how much money they was making and how they was helping people. So I gave it a try, and then it's not easy. I mean, people act like it's easy, but it's really not. Some people are really in tough situations, and some people have been like screwed over by other wholesalers. Which I try not to do to a lot of people, but definitely dedicated. At the first year of wholesaling, I did a lot of cold calling. So, but it didn't burn me out. I was okay with it. I'm used to getting cussed out of my job, so it's okay.
I was going to ask, is real estate your full-time thing, or were working a full-time job on top of being in real estate?
I have a full-time. I have a full-time job. I'm a registered nurse working in the emergency room, so I'm used to getting cussed out by people all the time and talking to people. Just so I still do that. When I first started doing the cold calling real estate, I kind of went part-time doing it because of the whole COVID situation and kind of like burned me out or whatever. So I kind of went part-time. So I was doing like a lot of cold calling, just like driving for dollars, not really knowing what the heck I was doing. I was doing like no follow-up. I'll talk to people one time, like, okay, no worries. I never call them back. Just not really knowing, doing like I would hear stuff that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm like, I don't have to do all of that. So I want to do it. Now I look back, some deals I probably missed out on just by not doing the basics of wholesaling.
Yeah. So sometimes it's really just all those little small steps that, and all of us could do that. So you're not alone. You're many, like looking back now, if I only knew back then, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's okay. You learn from the lessons. Some you get a bunch of money for, some you learn right while you're going through it and you don't get money, but either way you're learning and you're finding out how to continue. And that's the one thing I got to say about you. I don't know if it's because I don't know, everybody in the medical field seems to do really well with this, especially with what you've got folks coming in all types of situations and you have to be quick to respond, make sure that everything's going smooth. That's a really hard job. So I think when you're dealing with real estate, we're dealing with that sometimes too. Somebody's in a really tough spot and how you handle them, I think is wonderful. So cold calling is definitely a tough one before. I've had to do it, and it does have, I mean, you could get a deal, but has a lot of challenges.
It does.
So obviously we're doing this for a few years. How long till you got your very first deal were you doing it?
So I got my first deal back in last December. And previous before that, I actually had a deal under contract that would have been a very nice deal. But I couldn't find a buyer. It was at the time when the interest rate was going up. And even then, I think the interest rate was like 5%. And then I look at it now, it's even higher. But no one was buying in that price range because it was like, I think it was like a 900 ARV. And I actually had it under contract for like 500, but could not dispo it. But it actually motivated me at that time. I was like, well, I could easily make $100,000 because like that easy. Only if this interest rates was still 3.5%.
Right.
It was definitely, and there was a lot of feedback that the buyers was telling me, hey man, with this interest rate right now, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the market. I'm gonna have to pass on this one. So it was a little bit discouraging, but at the same time, it was like a reality check. Like I could actually make a 6-figure check if
Mhm.
the right stuff was put in place. So after that, I joined you guys' program. Not too long after that deal kind of went down, and then in December is when I actually closed on my very first deal.
Bam.
Yay.
And we're going to
Yeah.
talk about that because
Mhm.
what you did, you've got such a cool story behind that too. So thanks for dropping some nuggets. So obviously you're learning, trying to figure it out as you're doing it. You realize later on, hey, I probably missed a few steps here or there, right?
Yeah.
I probably should have followed up a little bit more, found other alternatives. Back when you first got started, resources weren't readily available as easy as they are today. I could testify for that because I was doing this before YouTube even existed. But you still fought through it. Even when it wasn't easy, you kept going. You finally get yourself a deal. Now, you closed it in December of 2023. Right now, we're recording, it's June of 24. So 6 months ago. When did you finally talk to these people? Like, how did you guys find each other?
So this was actually, of course, taking you guys' advice, posting on Facebook, telling people exactly what I do, which I've never done before in my life. Like, I don't think anyone knew I did real estate. When I first started posting, people was like, "You do real estate?" I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know what I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, sure. So they would ask me like, "Oh, are you flipping or what are you doing?" I was like, well, I can do a little bit of everything, different exit strategies. So kind of did turn them off or whatever. So anyway, so I posted on my Facebook during my birthday. I was like, hey, today's my birthday, and for my birthday month, I'm giving you guys a present, giving you basically $1,000 referral fee if you send me a house and I buy it. And I think like a week later, one of my coworkers, she ex coworker, she actually sent me a lead, and it was on Facebook. So anybody could have got this lead. It was right there, big as day. So I reached out to the homeowner and started talking to him about his situation, what was going on. And we talked from my birthday was in September. So we talked from September all the way to the closing. I mean, we talked at least once or twice a week. We're going back and forth with his wife, how much they want for the property. It was just like, a really sticky situation because the company that they was using for the financing kept going up on their mortgage. They just couldn't afford it. They was tired of paying it. They was tired of the interest rates and all this stuff. So I kind of solved a problem for them. They was looking to buy something all cash. So when we closed, they was able to purchase their the trailer all cash.
So you found somebody obviously who was in a situation, and the current home they're living in just became unaffordable. So I want to kind of dial back to the very beginning, what you just said. So you put it on your Facebook page, happy birthday to me, but happy birthday. Like if you guys send me a deal and if I buy it, I pay you $1,000. And that's really Jenn's.
And I think that sometimes people, they struggle with posting on the Facebook, right? So what part of you finally was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it?
No, I just posted it, and that's kind of my attitude ever since then. Like I haven't been consistently lately because I do find myself like when I get 2 deals at one time, I'm like, so much going on. So, but that's kind of what I did. I just posted it, and the rest was history from there.
Right. Well, it's almost like what's the worst that could happen, and then what's the best
Exactly.
can happen, right? And
Exactly.
the best did happen. You were able to pay somebody a little birthday present money from you, but also help the seller and do your first deal. So win-win all around.
And obviously then your ex-coworker, they get some money too. So they've got to be thrilled that they've
It was
helped
right near
somebody.
Christmas. It was like a week before. I think it was a week before Christmas. So now she has an extra $1,000 to go splurge.
Yeah.
So she was pretty excited. I mean, she even sent me a deal like a month later, another deal. I didn't close on it, but she would send me another lead, and she always inbox me, "Are you still looking for houses?" I was like, "Of course."
So any advice, keep that going. Send them
Yeah.
some like a Christmas gift, like a little gift
Yeah.
basket or something like that, because jeepers creepers. Because I know we're not going to spread all of it. Like I know you did well in the deal too, so it worked out great for everybody. And that's really the key. If you could create a win for everyone, I mean, even the person that sent you the lead, the seller, a buyer, you, and everybody made, perfect Christmas gift too. Like, holy cow.
Perfect.
It's a wonderful thing. So what do you think your biggest challenge that you faced on like your first deal?
The biggest challenge with that deal was really after, I mean, it was pretty well. One challenge was the seller originally agreed to close after the first of the year. And then all of a sudden he was like, I need to close now. I was like, yo, he's like, you want to close like now? He was like, yes, can you close in the next week or two? Like, we don't want to lose this house or whatever. I was like, well, let me see what I can do. Well, unfortunately, I was able to find a buyer, and my buyer was excited, so he was ready to make it happen. And the only hiccup was the law office we was using. That was a big hiccup. It actually delayed the closing an extra week, so that was a big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Using that law firm. So that was probably the biggest challenge, honestly.
So how did you overcome that working with the seller when all of a sudden they just throw you a curveball, right? And now they're like, hey, let's close in January. And then like, no, we need to close like tomorrow.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
how did you handle that with kid gloves to make sure that they were still good on the deal, right? And everything still went as good as it could? Because that could be tricky.
Kept them calm. I kept them calm. Like they was like panicking. I was like, hey, calm down, trust me, we'll make it happen.
I hope everybody just heard that. And I know you're probably channeling from, like Joe mentioned before, like the field that you're coming from, like that compassionate, I've got you, I take care of you. But like that is the number one thing that a lot of people don't think about, is just be in communication and let the sellers know that you've got them. And by doing so, like you're going to figure it out. But some things are out of your control, and it's just keeping everybody calm and knowing that it will happen. Maybe not as quickly as they wanted, but just that reassurance is really key. So I love that you shared that.
And this was like, in this situation here, it was in Gastonia, North Carolina. So it's about 40 minutes from where I live at. So the seller, he would call me and he was like, hey, can you just come over? And I was like, in my head, I was like, dude, just tell me what's going on. And like, he would want me to come over. Is this to kind of tell him to relax? So I had talked to his wife, make her feel better, blase. So it was fine. It was just like literally what they wanted me to come over for. We could hop on a Zoom call and talk about, but it put them at ease and they was okay with the process. So it worked out.
Well, you do that for a living already. So when, somebody comes, and this is one of our old team members still is, but Brittany, she was an emergency room nurse too. And the same thing went when so many people come in, they're in a really tough spot. You're not going to the emergency room just for fun, right? You're in a really bad spot. And here you are, that voice of like comfort. So the fact that you could translate into real estate, I could see why, from just having you over and you being you, put them at ease, made them feel comfortable, even when it didn't go perfect, and it still closed and everybody still was happy at the end of the day. Mission accomplished. And that's what's important.
And it's a people business, right? And like of course they're gonna maybe freak out a little. This is a huge moment in their lives where they're selling their property. They got to buy a new one. Like, is this really going to happen? Is it really going to go through? And to just be there and communicate. Like, don't think like, oh, I got it under contract. Like life, I don't have to talk to these people again. No, like Avery said, he talked to them every day or every week until closing. So keep that in mind as you're doing deals out there.
Well, and I think about it, you started with these folks in September. So when everybody's like, how fast is it to get a deal? Well, I mean, some of it's based on you. And if you call 100 people a day or do you call one a day, like that will probably make a difference, right? However that looks like. But the number two, there's obviously some luck behind it too. But when you do have that deal, it's so easy for them not to go perfect and to blow up. So the fact that you able to, stick with them since September when you first got connected, all through October, November, now you're getting close to closing a week before Christmas, you can see there's obviously some time spent on there too. So, just great job to you. And I'm glad now, I mean, high five, like you did a deal now, right? So now it's just now you've done it, you've been there before, it's just now getting the next one. And that's really cool.
And I almost, it's so funny too, because we talk so much about go post a blue ad, go into Facebook groups, but this one didn't come from an ad in a group. It literally came from your own personal page. And what better referral is that than someone who actually knows you? And it's free. It took you how long to make that post?
Exactly. Probably like 10 minutes.
Probably took you longer to actually hit post, right?
Yeah, you actually hit the button like, oh, God. Like, how about wife where you like 5 pounds? She was like, just do it.
Well, so now I would recap that post every year, but like on the anniversary, I would be like, oh, last year, because of this post, I paid so-and-so. And I know Avery did a great job of showing like, hey, this actually was a thing. And I paid somebody. So great way to have somebody who's going to check you out go to your own page and say, wow, he actually is serious and he does this stuff, which is great for when you're marketing the way you do. So great job. And now that the world knows that you do this, I mean, you got the hat, you got the stuff. We were just talking about a few other things. It's great job because marketing is the key. Getting in front of people is the way to do it.
Absolutely. So if anyone is listening and they haven't done their first deal yet, is there like one piece of advice that you would give for them to really just get started?
Yeah, just stay consistent. That's it. Just stay consistent. You know, you'll get a lot of no's, but you will get that one yes. So just stay consistent. That's it. I've been very consistent. Like, I mean, it was times that I got like, oh man, this is not working before I joined your program. Like, this is not working, and I still stay consistent. Like, I would call, follow up, and consistency is the key in this business. And then, of course, follow up.
So what advice would you give to somebody who's got a family like you, got a full-time job like you, right? Doing this on the side, like, you know, I don't have 8 hours a day to do that, Avery. Like, what kind of advice you give for those folks who, you know, maybe are busy like you? Like, how did you able to get through that?
Just try to find a time. Like, literally on my lunch breaks, I would at least try to make 2 or 3 calls. You know, that's when I did get a lunch break at work. It'd be so busy, but literally on my lunch break, I would make a call. And I was working 7 to 7, so like 7 to 8 to 7 to P. So the cutoff time to call here in North Carolina is like 8 o'clock. People don't answer the phone. So like at 7:20, when I was walking out the door, I was making a call. I was sending a text message. So hopefully they'll, you know, respond back. Just stay consistent. That's it. You know, just find that little time to send a text message out or make a call. Just do a post. Even that post throughout the day, you can respond to your Facebook post at some point.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, because so many people do think, oh, it's just for those people who have, you know, all the hours in a day and they can just sit there behind their computer and they need the fancy office and they need like the 3-4 screens. But no, you really just need your cell phone and a few minutes to go make a post.
Yeah. Semi-quiet corner, right? And I've had people lock themselves in the bathroom. I've had people go in their car and do it, you know, and that's what I used to do. I would go sit out in my car, or I usually am a pacer, so I walk a lot. So like next to where I used to work, there was like this pond, and I used to like just do laps around it, and just be on my phone, like trying to do that on my lunch break. So it's finding all those little 15, 20-minute breaks where, you know, most of us are just scrolling through TikTok or Instagram anyways, like looking at a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, so if you could just take 20 minutes of that time back to actually help your life and move that needle forward and get you closer to that first deal. Bet you it was a good Christmas in your house that year, huh?
Oh yeah, it was a good Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have my mom. Like, she would actually help me too. Like, if I got to leave from, like, you know, Facebook ad, or if I got to leave from somebody seeing the flyers somewhere and I was at work, I was text my mom, call this number and see if they want to sell the house. I'll see what's going on. So she was a tremendous help too with this.
Oh my gosh.
I love that. So if you are in the North Carolina area and you want to connect with Avery, where can people find you? What's a good phone number? Or are you on socials?
Yep, you can find me. Here's my, I don't know if I had 704-997-3777. That's my phone number. Call me anytime. You can hit me up on Facebook. It is Avery Montgomery on Facebook in Charlotte. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Big Boy Buy Houses. That's my Instagram. So you can find me there. Just hit me up. If you need help this phone, let me know. You got anything creative, you know what to do with it, let me know. We'll figure it out.
I love that. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we love having you part of the community, and everybody looks up to you. And because of that one just small thing you did in your life, it was a life-changing thing. It's a ton of inspiration too. So great job. And you guys need to follow Avery, because he does put up some really cool stuff. And it's exciting to see. So thank you so much for coming on this week.
Yep. Thank you, guys. So make sure that if you're not subscribed yet, head over to Creative Finance Playbook on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And then we're also all over Apple and Spotify, where we bring you these deal breakdowns where people are out there doing deals, helping folks out, and let's help you get your next deal. So until next time, we're Jen and Joe. We'll see you later.
Thank you, guys.